Hello everybody, Jensen Vars here. In this video we're going to talk about the scene unfolding machine. What is it and what do you use it for? Let's get started. Before we get going, I would like to extend an invitation to all of you to my new Discord server where you can discuss with all other community players of my games in a single place. Take a look at the invitation link down in the description below. But what is the scene unfolding machine exactly? Some is a utility you can use to expand and improve your solo role-playing games. That means expand your storytelling when you're using a role-playing game system by yourself to tell a story you are enjoying. To know what is playing solo role-playing games, I suggest you watch at my previous video. I explain what that is. Once you catch up with that, there is a concept of a game master emulator. It emulates an author or a co-author of your game. It's going to introduce randomness in your games, and it's going to bring surprise and take some of the important decisions for you. And in this way you can do storytelling with the help of a game master emulator. With that said, Scene Unfolding Machine is an expansion to that toolkit, and the reason it is separate from my Plot Unfolding Machine is that you can use it with any game master emulators you like, or any solo role-playing games setup you would like to play it with. That makes it a very independent module to get going. What it does and how or why would you choose it, it's gonna focus on playing those non-protagonist characters in your games, like other people your characters or your protagonists meet across their journey. Let's take a look at what it can do. The first thing Scene Unfolding Machine can do is what's called a GM Emulation extension. There are 3 actions for this: an intervention check, actions, reactions, and leaving factions. An intervention check is a tool you can use when you want to ask the universe whether something interrupts your protagonists. This is nice when your protagonists are taking some actions and you think, maybe there's something that could happen, but you're not sure what. The way it works is really simple. You just roll a d100 and compare it against the table. In this case, I rolled 60, which is remain silent. What do the characters do? Tension. It's saying nothing happens, but there's a tension build up. You choose or you define what is it. Again, it is more of that game master emulation thing that is like co-authoring the game with you. If we roll it again, let's go for another number. We go 75. 75 says the GM, or the GM emulator in this case, forces a tough call to be between 2 options. So it's saying there is an intervention in your game that you should pay attention to at some point in between where your characters are dealing with something. You need to think of a way of having your characters decide between 2 interesting options. If we roll that again, just to get another example, 73, that would be the GM throws an issue that requires immediate attention. So as you can see, they are very vague and abstract, but it gives you some sort of something that could happen. It could be like bring someone familiar to or interesting to interact with, or it could be reveal enemies that are yet unaware of the protagonist characters. So it's another tool. You can use it to have fun with it. The next example is actions reaction. Whenever you want to know how the universe reacts to your protagonist decisions and you're unsure in terms of storytelling, actions reactions can do this, and it works by throwing a 1d20. Let's go for some example. 12. Unfortunately, the protagonist characters or the player characters might want to reconsider that. It's not too late. Let's give it in a context. Your characters are investigating some disappearance in a village, and they decide to get inside some private family home to investigate for whatever reason. Maybe a clue led them to it, and then they realize that the family is living there and they look completely innocent, and they are surprised and in shock, and they say, where could the game go from here, right? What do you do with this? And then you roll an actions reaction. How does the universe react to it? So might want to consider that is telling me, okay, this family is like waiting for your characters to leave. It's not too late. That means they're not going to do anything about you, but you can still leave. In essence, you can reconsider that. Under the same example, let's roll again and go for another result. 11. It turns out this won't be possible at all, because what it's saying is that when my characters enter that home family, they realize there's a second door, and that second door is completely barreled and secured. They won't be able to get inside this time. Let's go for another example. 2. That is in fact good. Things become easier to achieve. So what it's saying is that the characters did good in getting into this family's home, because they did find something they were looking for. There are traces of what happened in the crime or mystery. So that's it. So actions, reaction you use when you want to know what happens after your characters did something. Was it the right decision or not? And you want to judge on it without being you yourself author deciding that. Leave Scene Unfolding Machine decide that for you. Let's go for living factions. This is when you play on a game that has important factions doing things, and you want to follow up on what they have been doing in the meantime, particularly when your characters go on back. Let's give an example. Let's follow the same example. Our characters are following a mystery of a disappearance. So somebody disappeared and they are looking for him. And in the meantime, if we say it's happening in a modern war society, at some point we make a call to the CIA and ask and try to figure. One of our characters want to figure out what the CIA has been doing so far. I don't know. It's a tricky example, but let's try it. You also roll a d20. You get 17. Lies have been discovered. Someone is betrayed. So the CIA is going to tell our characters that one of the reports was forged and manipulated. There is someone from inside the organization messing things up. Okay? Let's go for another example. The characters call the CIA and ask what the CIA could have been doing in the meantime. New information has been discovered and now is available. So the CIA says, it's good that you called because we have something you might want to hear about. So as you can see, it's like a good tool when you want to know what somebody else has been doing in the meantime. Okay, they could have captured an agent. There's a bunch of results you can play with. Let's get going with the other GM emulation tools of Scene Unfolding Machine. The next thing Scene Unfolding Machine is going to help you with is PC Enrichment. It's going to improve your own character. So if you want to take a step back and ask how could you improve your protagonist's background, this tool can help you with that. There's like parallel matters. What else could your characters be taken care of? But before we get into that, why would you want to enrich your own protagonists? Up to you for that to judge, but one option is like you don't know, or you need some creativity help to get to improve your protagonists, or you want to do this for another protagonist or non-player character or secondary character and you don't want to spend a lot of energy thinking a backstory for them. PC Enrichment is great for that. Let's give it a spin. It also works with a d20. We get 9, and 9 is they want to fulfill a promise or a vow, be honored or recognized. So this gives you a guidance of what parallel matters could these people be dealing with. If I roll again, number 6 is constantly seek to get better and improve oneself. So they are seeking for self-improvement. So parallel matters means what else are they seeking on top of the current plot that they are after. Lingering backstories is also interesting. It works with a d100. You roll on it and get result number 2. This person was raised in a typical environment without any particular issues. This is to improve their background. If you like something more interesting, you can roll again. If you get, okay, and number 8, let's try again for a bigger number. 92. 92 stands for grew up in extreme poverty, knows what hunger is. So these are backstories, improvements you can add to your characters. I think it's cool. You can add some twist to them. And of course, the majority of the results will be normal background. Not everybody has to have something exciting or extreme or like this one, tough going on. It doesn't have to be. There's also normal backgrounds. Bonding relations. This is when you want to gather your party together, or you want to connect relations between two different characters. Could be protagonists or non-protagonists. You roll a d20 and you get a 4. It says life-changing help. One rescued the other. There's a life-saving situation. That means one of the two saved the other. So there's a strong bond between them. Another example, 19. Because they have no other options, there are strong ties. Maybe they have been recruited together, or there's a mission and somebody else put them together, but otherwise they wouldn't have any strong bond if it weren't for that particular circumstance. So as you can see, Scene Unfolding Machine is rule-less. There are no rules here, there are just a bunch of random tables, but they have a very peculiar purpose, and that's the value in it. These kind of things that can expand your storytelling scenarios. Let's get going. The next phase is when things get interesting. This is the NPC emulation. This is when your characters meet other characters they don't know. What is peculiar about Scene Unfolding Machine is that it's meant to always be from the perspective of your characters. And that's why, unlike other NPC emulators, Scene Unfolding Machine does not have a motivation table, because what is the point, right? Your characters meet someone and then you author come back here and say, give me the motivation of this character. And they say, I don't know, find a weapon. And it's like, how would your characters know that, right? Scene Unfolding Machine, and hence the word, gets into the perspective of what your characters can perceive right away. So what can you perceive of an NPC? 3 things. Attitude, a contribution, what they say, and an opinion to something. That's what Scene Unfolding Machine gives you from characters. How it works, let's say our character meets one of the possible, or one helpful policeman that knows something about the disappearances, right? And our characters question this person, this policeman. First of all, we want to know an attitude. 19. This person looks at the PCs disrespectfully or very rudely, so we're dealing with someone who's rude with our characters for some reason. We may need to make that up later. Let's go for a different table, which is the contribution. What do they say, or how do they help the plot once we get to that question? 98. 98 is a bad result, of course. They do verbal assaulting, taunting, or begin a fight if needs to be. So this person is rude, but also they are ready to fight. That means they are completely aggressive towards player characters. This is something your characters might want to know. Why? If we go for another example and we roll an 11, we go to the other extreme. They offer to join the player characters and show them a path or directly help. This would be, despite being rude, they seem to be helpful. And that's how you construct spontaneous NPCs on the fly with very little effort. Last but not least, what if their characters share something delicate with them? Maybe on purpose, right? They tell him, what would you do? Or what do you think if the CIA were corrupt and they were forging these documents? And then you roll a d20 and you get an 18. They disagree, dislike, and will oppose it however they can. So they say essentially that their characters must be wrong and it's not possible that the CIA is corrupt. So that's how you roleplay an NPC character with Scene Unfolding Machine. Let's go to the next one, which is an outside impression, how they look like from the outside. Like, we get a 4. They wear clothes that define some culture or religion they belong to. So maybe they have some ornaments that belong to a certain religion, for example. And it's a detail your characters could capitalize on. Filler talks is for chit chat or whatever non-plot related they could be talking about. So for example, when we meet them, what are they talking about, or what do they bring up? And they talk about their culture, tradition, holidays, custom, norms, etc. Maybe they share about a holiday season that they're going through, a coming festivity. or something like that. So it's just give you context, give you an idea of what could these characters be talking about. Finally, truth or dare focuses on conspicuous behavior. What could they be hiding? Could this be person lying? You can roll a d20 here and get something like what they say is full of contradictions. Could it be? So it tells you that these characters begin to contradict themselves by what they are saying. So your characters might be able to capitalize on that and maybe hunt a potential liar, or maybe in the end they are just making mistakes. I hope it makes sense so far. Let's move on to some very more special tools from Scene Unfolding Machine. Now we have in Scene Unfolding Machine a way to create very fast characters with just one sentence. Take a look, we have this called stereotypes. We just roll a d100, compare it to this table and get something like 70. A gentle giant, a friendly and warm person despite their size. So what this does is bring you stereotypical characters that with just one sentence you can recognize them, right? So in this case, you need a quick NPC and you get this huge guy that despite being huge, they are friendly and they come and, I don't know, support the player characters in however way they want, but first intimidating a little bit. Let's roll another example in the second table. If we get a 33, we get the Peacemaker, the voice of peace and reason. So we meet a character that seems to be thoughtful, analytical, and very wise. That's it. So that's it. With just one roll, you get an NPC. So if you need quick NPCs, Scene Unfolding Machine does that. And last but not least are the oracles. This is a classic in Scene Unfolding Machine. It's also on the free version. What you can do here is simply roll 3 times a d100 and you get, like, for example, 33 for an action. That would mean take, steal, raid, sabotage, secure, confiscate. Then you roll another one, 42, and you get healthy, repaired, fixed, recovered, constructed. And then you roll one subject and you get 29, a carrier, courier, messenger bearer, or a runner. So we've got steal, a recovered, carrier, for example. So why would you use this? This is when you're stuck, totally stuck in your storytelling. You run out of ideas, or you have a very complicated question and you need an explanation for it. Then this is a way to answer with combinatory prompts as an answer to your question or your topic. So for example, you can use them individually, right? So you can, if you need some sort of adjective to describe something, you can roll on this table and get something like holy, or religious, or snowy, frozen. And unlike other oracle systems, this gives multiple words. So your brain can associate different words and maybe come up with something. And then you can combine them. For example, magical and then with a subject, a magical announcement or a saying, I don't know. And then you get prompt. So this is for yourself, for your own usage, but this is how I use it when I really get stuck in my storytelling or my role-playing games. I need some inspiration and then I just roll random words on these tables. So that's it. That's the Scene Unfolding Machine. It's a very small supplement, but it's very, very powerful. You can use it to expand those non-protagonist characters' behavior and get a lot more out of your game. This is Jensen Vars. Remember to hit the like, subscribe, or join the Discord server. We welcome you there. Until the next one. Bye bye.